Hello, everyone. Hello. Should have put context in, but I don't feel like it. Hello, everyone. I'm just waiting for Ngozi to join. I wanted to keep the prompt. So right now it's a couple minutes after 2, and I'm just waiting for some more people to join in. Hope my lighting is good. I'm not wearing Ngozi, which should be on soon. And don't forget to like the video. Let me know where you are calling in from. Not calling in from, where you joining in from. Um, Today's video is not going to be long. I know we say that all the time. Last week really wasn't expected. I did not expect to be on live for 1 hour and like 30 plus minutes. I really did not expect that, but we know how to engage. So today's live, I want to keep it to like maybe 45 minutes at the most, 1 hour. I don't really have much to talk about this topic, but me and Guzzy figured this is a good topic to discuss because, as we know, a lot of people are looking to move to different cities, and sometimes some basic concepts are not necessarily talked about as often as they should be. And the title of this live is, when is the best time of the year to move to a new city? So I will just start. We know the most popular time to move to a new city is definitely summertime, right? Specifically for families, because a lot of families don't want to disrupt their child's school year. So down south, school starts early August. It ends, I believe, a little bit after Memorial Day or around ending of May. So June and July, very popular times down south for people to move, especially families, because of that. Hey, Nature Wesby from Nashville. Nice. Okay. Are you new to our channel? I haven't seen you comment in our lives before, but nice to have you. I was just talking about what we're going to be talking about today, the best of the time of the year to move to a new city. So families, I get it. I'm not sure if for like single people or younger, like based on demographics, if that changes. I just know in general the most popular time that people move is summertime. However, that is not the best time of the year to move to a new city. And when I say the best time of the year, I'm really focusing on pricing, right? I don't know what other people are focusing on, but I know next week makes about 3 years I live in Charlotte, and these rent prices, it's just crazy how they go up and down, up and down. Like my same apartment will fluctuate within like $300 depending on the time of the year. So I believe the best time of the year to move to a new city is any time from October to maybe March, April. That's a wide range, right? But I think specifically, if I had to really narrow it down, the best time of the year to move based on pricing would be December through February. Why, you may ask? Why is it December through February? So December through February are the winter months. Okay, it tends to be colder. Holidays, a lot of holidays starting from ending of November, Thanksgiving. People don't want to move usually during that time. It's cold out. Like, again, if people have families, their children are going to have to break up their school year. So you tend to notice that rent prices are cheaper, specifically from December through February. The mistake I made when I moved in August, and I only signed a 12-month lease. And I remember, I'll never forget, my cousin told me, she's like, make sure you sign the longest lease possible because, you want to get that cheap rent for as long as you can. But I was very nervous because of other people's experiences. I heard, yay, Miss Mermaid, you got the notification this time. Yay. So I was just talking about, yeah, I'm new. Absolutely love your content. So glad I found it. Oh, thank you. How did you find it? Are you looking to move to Charlotte or Houston? Or are you just thinking about moving in general? I would really like to know. So yeah, December through February is the cheapest time usually to move to a new apartment. And why do I say this? I mentioned it's cold. There's a lot of holidays. People want to worry about the holidays. They want to worry about moving. School is still in session. So you tend to notice that the rent prices are cheaper. If you can hold out to December, if you're thinking about moving now, you can hold out to December through February. I would highly, 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 highly recommend that. Okay, I would highly recommend that. And then it's not just about when you move. You have to pay attention to when your lease is going to end. So I made that mistake. So I moved in August, but that was during COVID. So my price is really cheap. It was fine. And mind you, as it went later in the year, the prices even dropped more. So that shows you that it is true. But then I only did a 12-month lease. So my lease ended up ending next August. Keep in mind, when your lease is ending, they give you the 60-day notice. So you have to backtrack 2 months. So I got the notice in June. That's summer. You don't want to get your notice in the summer. You want to get your notice maybe in the spring, the fall, or maybe the winter. So don't just keep in mind when you sign the lease. The lease is 12 months, whatever month. Think about the 60 days before the lease is going to expire. For example, let me give you an example because I like to give examples. Mistake I made. I moved August. I made my lease in August. I could have got 15-month lease for that same rate, and my rate was really good. Just put it out there, it was $1,200 to live uptown, one bedroom in a good apartment. You're not going to see that now anytime soon. But I was very apprehensive because my cousin who was giving me this good advice, she had a bad experience when she moved. She had to break a lease. As you all know, if you've been following us, Ngozi had a bad experience. She had to break her lease. So I was like, I don't want to sign a 15-month lease. And what if I need to break it? What am I going to do if I have to break? And then, they be saying, oh, you have to pay off your lease. I didn't want that trouble. So I was so nervous. And plus, for y'all that have been following me, the real OGs, and let me know in the chat, y'all know when I rented my apartment, I never saw it. I did a virtual tour. So of course that made me a little bit more nervous too. Like, what if I go there and there's an issue and I signed this 15-month lease? Hi everyone, hand pink waving. Hi Mia Chica. Yes, make sure you end in the winter as well. Exactly. Good point. So the mistake I made, if I would have made it, my lease end in November, let's do 2 months back, I would have got my renewal notice in September. So it's not the best, but it's better than June, right? So when it was time to increase my rent, they put it up like almost $200. I remember I was so annoyed about that. Like, but then since my rent started off so low, it still wasn't that bad. But I was so annoyed, like, my rent is going to go up $200. Like, I don't even want to pay more than I'm paying now. Blah blah blah. I was really really annoyed and upset about my rent increasing. So focus not only when your lease is going to end, but backtrack the 60 days because that's when they give you the notice and let you know how much your rent is going to increase. So we know rent is increasing like crazy. I hear about people getting like $500 increases with their new lease, 300, 400. My apartment, I can say, has been pretty reasonable, right? I would have loved for my apartment to have stayed the same price, but that's not usually how things are done. So the first time they raised it by $179. The second time they raised it by like $130. So this time, I don't even know. My lease ends in November. I don't even know. I don't want to pay no more than what I'm paying. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to move somewhere else. Moving in general, where we are thriving the most for moving in general, where we are thriving the most for true community connection. Girl, we did this exact same thing and I've renewed twice, really. So your lease is going to end in August, or this is something you did in the past? I'm planning on breaking my lease this year in down season. Supposed to be looking now. I was just telling my neighbor I'm so ready to go. Really? Where are you trying to go, Miss Mary? Are you trying to leave Charlotte in general, or are you just trying to go to another apartment? Mia Chica, I moved from Link Apartments and my same apartment is now 1886. I was paying $1336 a few months ago for a one-bedroom in Charlotte, Dilworth, Montford area. Right, so that's the reason why it's going to be so hard for me to move, because I'm still complaining about my rent, but it's nothing close to what you're saying right now. And I still don't want to pay it. So it's just going to be hard for me to find something cheaper than what I already have in a good neighborhood. That's the problem, but I want more space. I don't have enough closet space. We showed y'all that my closet in one of the lives. I don't have enough closet space. That's really honestly, I could really manage my apartment low key if I wanted to, like one more year. But I really want more closet space, and I would like a better washer and dryer. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I would like a better washer and dryer. My main thing is the closet space. That's my main issue, and I just can't do it anymore. And I'm a minimalist. So if I'm complaining about closet space, come on, the closet space must really be a joke. I guess I can find some stuff on Amazon. I know there's a lot of organizers and things people use to give themselves more space. So I guess that could be an option. You guys don't forget to like the video. I don't know where Ngozi is. Maybe she's sleeping. I really don't know, but I just had to start. Oh my goodness, 1886. What about the Steel Creek area? I heard that's a good area. So I'm going to do some apartment tours. So coming up, I want to tour Steel Creek, Matthews, and another affordable place is University area. I've done an apartment video tour and that actually did really, really good. Steel Creek, I went there for the first time this year and it was just really giving me like suburban vibes. I mean, it could have just been the area I went to. Last night I was actually in Huntersville. Huntersville right here is expensive though, and it's kind of far, but it wasn't too far. I thought it was farther than it really was, even though I've been to Huntersville before, maybe because I haven't been there in a while. Steel Creek area is not bad, but to me, it's like very suburban. Like I don't think I'd want to live in Steel Creek. That's just me. But I know soon it's going to be more developed and they're building a lot of things. I went to the Aldo and stuff around there. No, I'm here for the long while. Just want another brand new apartment, lower price, and there are plenty about to open up. I'm a minimalist too. Yeah. So that's the thing. That's why I'm looking forward to my lease ending. Since there's so many apartments being built, there's predictions that rent prices are going to drop by the end of the year, and hopefully that's the case. But I actually really want to stay where I am. I just want to move into a different apartment where I am. That would just be convenient. 3 years I tried. I want something new. I want something a little different. If I could get a 2 bedroom, I would love to. But the way these prices are looking, I think that's stretching it. I just want more space. Do you work on the north side or more in the middle? Me, I right now I'm working remotely. I was working in the university area, so I got really familiar with university. I've worked in Matthews, so I'm a little familiar with Matthews. That's why I mentioned those two places, because I feel like outside of the uptown area, those are the two places in the Charlotte area, Charlotte metro area I'm most familiar with, University and Matthews. What about Noda? So Noda is one place I really always say I have not explored enough. I still got to go to Noda 101. Hopefully I make it this weekend. I feel like Noda is the place that I hardly go to. The only time I've been there is once we're trying to go to brunch at that place with the good fried chicken. What's the name of that place with the good fried chicken? I forget. I heard the fried chicken is really Haberdish. And I was going with like a meetup group and we couldn't get in. So we're going to cross the street kind of to like this taco place. But literally, I don't think I've been to Noda like in a year. I don't go there. But I really feel like it has a lot of good spots. I heard about Roy's Kitchen and Patio. I believe that's in Noda as well, a Caribbean restaurant. Steel Creek is for fam, exactly, but you can get to South End super quick though. Yeah, that's true. It was closest. But then Steel Creek isn't really even. My issue is that like my rent I'm paying is so reasonable now. I'm not gonna go to Steel Creek to pay what I'm paying here. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like get it, maybe I'll get a little more space or a bigger closet, but I feel like for me to go and move further out from the uptown area, my rent needs to substantially decrease. And because I moved during the pandemic and got such a good rate, and my apartment has been a bit reasonable with their increases, I feel like it's going to be very, very hard for me to find something cheaper. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not moving to save $50. I'm not moving to even save $100, honestly. For me to move outside of this area, like Noda, Uptown, South End, out of this area, for me to move out of this area in Charlotte, I need to be saving hundreds of dollars a month because the moving process is not a joke. Y'all should know I'm stress adverse. I don't like stress. I have to pay movers. I have to pack. I have to it's just a lot. Like I'm not doing that to save $100 a month. I'm not, because by the time I calculate the moving cost and probably the stress I'm going to endure, is not worth it. Like I feel like for me to move farther out of where I am, I need to be saving at least like $200+ a month. I don't know if anyone agrees with that. Okay, cool. Me too. I'm 100% remote now. Oh, we remote. Low Ernest, June and January are the best times of year to move to new city. The middle and beginning of the year. Why June though? June is summer. Why? How so with June? Thank you for the recommendations. I moved to Charlotte at the end of February, and I'm trying to get closer to Noda or Uptown too. Okay, so where do you live now? Thank you for the recommendation. I really want to start doing more apartment tours. I really need to get. I feel like those are like a good, because we said from now on we just kind of want to go live and then cut some videos from our lives to put up as regular videos. But apartment tours, at least I'm showing you something, like a way for me to explore different parts of Charlotte. I know I need to really start apartment hunting soon anyway, because technically next month, oh my goodness, it's August. Yeah, that's when they're gonna send me my renewal. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lot of apartment tours this fall. So make sure you stay tuned and put your notification bell on. Please like this video as well. Everybody was moving from my complex because they raised the rent too much. Even the studios are minimum 50. What? I was paying $16.36 for 635 square footage. That's for studios. Wait, where did you say you're staying again? Let me see this place. Link Apartments. I think I see Link. I've seen it before. Link. That's just ridiculous. Most rental leases start at the beginning or middle of the year. Most, don't they just start whenever you move? Link Apartment. Okay, I'll look up the Link Apartments. That's ridiculous. $1,500 for a studio. That's just really, really crazy. And the thing is, like, with these apartments, to get a 2-bedroom, only when I went to look at Apartments University, 2 bedrooms are actually very reasonable. Like the 1-bedroom would be, let's say 1,200, 2-bedroom would be like 14 or 1,500. I noticed that in university, but like all these other luxury apartments in uptown area, 1-bedroom is like, a 2-bedroom is like $1,000 more than a 1-bedroom. It's so expensive. Link Montford Apartments. Okay, I think I've seen that. Okay, is that by Emerson at Montford? Emerson at Montford. That's a nice area though. I really like that area. the Montfort area, not too far from South Park, not too far from Uptown. So I think, yeah, it's like to get cheaper rent, I feel like you have to really go like north or really south. And I feel like for some reason I'd rather go south. I don't know why. I don't really. The university area is not bad. I wouldn't say it's bad, but I don't know. It's just I'm not too crazy about it. I don't know. Something about it. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it, but for some reason I just don't really care for the university area like to live. Also, it's kind of I think it's because like you have to take the highway to get there. Like at least to go to some places that are south, I can use local roads, but university is like all highways. Kind of far. I know I sound it's not far, like 20 minutes, but it's like almost all highways. Yes, right by the bowling area in Harris Teeter. Lindsay said, my apartment is near Mint Hill and I moved here without touring like you and there's nothing around. Oh, Mint Hill. Oh, girl. I went to Mint Hill for the first time in January. I went to the Nova on Mint Hill because I had to do some like some medical, like a certain test that they only had there. And I was like, wow, Mint Hill. Like it, yeah, Mint Hill. I always tell people if I was to move somewhere outside of Charlotte area, like I say, I'm not an expert. I don't know it all. But from the time that I've been here and the places I've gone to, Matthews isn't really too bad because like Matthews has a border, like where I go do my hair, where I used to work. Matthews, there's an area that's really just right off Independence on the border of Charlotte. Like it's really, really not too bad. I just don't know if the prices are significant enough for it to really be worth it. I don't know because a lot of people just don't assume because you're going further out, it's necessarily going to be so much cheaper. That's not true because even if you're going further out and you want luxury and you want a big closet and you want the amenities, these places are still moving mad. Like I'm like, what? Like this is Matthews. Why is it costing so much? So don't assume that just because you go further out, you're necessarily going to get cheap rent. What I can say from my research I've done, most likely going to get more for your money. That's what I can say. You're going to get more, like more space. Like you talked about 635 square feet. That's a joke. You're going to get more space. You're probably going to get something nicer, maybe like as far as like being newer, being a more new building. But these places, even in these outskirts type of areas, for some reason, they're still very, very expensive. Like once it's new, no matter where it is, they're going to put the price up. And especially
I was going to say that. Hi, everyone. It's probably going to be newer or new. That's another factor. So I notice in a lot of these areas, the places are like brand new or like relatively new compared to like in the city. Like they have limited space for building, so they don't have as much new developments coming up.
Mia Chica said, "How about Rock Hill, South Carolina? I heard they're cheaper, but to me, it's country. Me personally, I'm not living in South Carolina. That's just me. That's just me personally. Like just going over that border, I just feel like there's a huge difference. You know, I get it. Maybe if you're like buying a house, I would get it more. Like you know, because a lot of people go over the border to buy a house. But for me personally, I'm not interested in living in South Carolina. But it's right there. It's not really far. It's not far. I'm not interested in South Carolina though. Okay, I'm back. Had to grab dinner. Okay, yes, Miss Mermaid, you ready? Eat your dinner while you watch us. Don't go nowhere. Mia Chick said, not too far from Carowinds, like 10 to 15 minutes from there. What is not too far from Carowinds? Let me see a lot. It's right by the bowling area. Oh, Mia. You know, I've never been to Carowinds. Okay, let me tell you guys fun facts about my Charlotte experience so far. I've never been to Carowinds, and I've never been to a movie theater in Charlotte. While I live in Charlotte, those two things. But I'm not a movie person. I mostly do like YouTube, Netflix. In general, I'm not really even a TV person. I've never been to movies. I've never been to Carowinds. I just want to go to Carowinds to walk around, you know, look cute, catch a vibe, you know. Unless you work in SC, LOL, don't do it. Yeah, I don't think I would want to. I remember, guys. Remember when you came with Justina that time we went to the gun range?
Oh yeah, what area was that in?
That was Fort Mill.
Oh, okay. It wasn't too far from you.
It wasn't at all. It wasn't far at all. It's not far at all. It's just the vibe, just the energy. It's just different. Like I gotta stay in Charlotte. I drive to Carwins from Atlanta all the time. Really? Oh, Lil Ernest, you in Atlanta? I didn't know you were in Atlanta. I thought you lived in Charlotte. Okay, Carowinds really. Yeah, I'm gonna try and go to Carowinds this year. I have like one thing each month I need to do this year before the year ends because I've been here
Yes, running by, especially the summer. I finally went to Galveston for people that are familiar. If you're in the Houston area, it's like their little beach. I finally went this weekend. I've been here like a year and a half. And every time I'm like, I will go, but I've heard so many negative things about it being dirty and coming. The water was brown. I put my foot in. I put my this water just looks different, and I can't see my feet. And then I realized, wait, the water kind of brown, but it's not necessarily because it's dirty. It's about the vegetation that's
Mm.
in the water. Like there's many factors, and they said that it's a little clearer during not in summer, like later on in the season. It was just different. Of course, Jersey. We always gonna think we miss about Jersey. I was never like a beach person, but at least once a year I would try to go to the beach every summer. And like Jersey beaches, like of course you can't sit with them.
We
Like
do
they're
it
not.
better. We do it
They're
better.
pretty, the water is clear for the most part. It's like so many people. You have all these like things. You have funnel cake. You have all these amusements and things like the beach. It was just like a beach water in like one little area that like no one was even there, and it was just very like it wasn't
Was it
like
crowded?
no, but it was people, but it wasn't crowded per se.
Beaches are far. I'm gonna become a pool babe. I realize like
Yeah,
I
I
pay
even like
all
all
the rent.
that sand. Sometimes a beach, you say you like the beach. The beach is like it's all that
I
sand
realize I
everywhere.
like the pool. I just want
I
to sit by
prefer
the
both.
pool. Have
Yeah,
it.
I can come back to my apartment. I can relax. I don't have to drive far, or just even if I'm going to someone else's pool, I think I prefer the pool versus
Yeah.
the beach. It's messy. All the sand everywhere. I saw my wall that I have sand in it today.
Me and she said, "What do y'all think the max should pay for one bedroom?" My personal opinion, and Guzzy told me about her one bedroom price. I didn't even realize that yesterday, because she's private. I was like, I wanted to scream. Me personally, me personally, what do you think the max should pay for one bedroom? I can't tell anyone the max they should pay. What do you make? Right?
Exactly. That's
So
number one.
when people say, Jenna, me and Guzzy talked about this earlier. People like to say that's expensive. What is expensive for me is not expensive for the next person. But we do know there's ranges. We know there's ranges that are really out this world, right? So like I think there's like broad ranges that are reasonable. I feel like for one bedroom, I feel like up to 1,800. If you're living in a major city, I feel like that should kind of be the cap around that.
Yeah.
I feel like 1,800, but at the same time,
Below 2,000, it's to me it's
I feel like
reasonable. But
1,800 should be a cap because this is
there's
one
other
bedroom.
factors. How big? There's one bedrooms that are 700 square feet. There's one bedrooms that are 900 square feet. So what's the size? How new is it? What type of amenities are you looking for?
You
Like
know, number
this.
one thing is where is the location?
Where is it located? There's so many factors that you have to consider. So it's a hard question, but I do agree. I would say personally, if you can get something below 2,000, it's pretty reasonable. If you can get something below 2,000 for one bedroom,
I rent cheap to you, Guzzy.
no, because your apartment is still like it's not new. So it's like I think in the price it is you're kind of grandfathered in, but I feel like the price does kind of match like what the like the bit like
But it's
the
not
like
the building; it's about location too.
yeah, but
It's
it's
not
other it's also
building.
factors on of course location is important. I told you I was looking
Your
at
building is
one
old, like where you moved from. It's not old. It's
one
still
bedroom, but
updated.
I'm not even talking about it being the build. I'm talking about physically like things are updated so quickly now. Like there's a certain standard. If you go to newer apartments, a certain way the shower is going to be. There's a
Right.
certain way the tub is going to be. There's a certain way that the
Washer and dryer.
yeah, like there's certain things, but like it comes to a point like they're not gonna. These apartments are not gonna go and update everyone's unit.
Right.
It's not realistic.
It has
So
to be
that's
new.
like
It's
when it
brand
was
new building.
exactly when it was built still matters because yes, they can make updates every 10 years, every so many years, but there's certain amenities that people are living there. Like, are they going to go and give everyone a new shower? Are they going to go and do certain
Right.
things like it's
Fixed,
already there?
like I don't even like the upgrades they did. They fixed their door to keypad, no more fobs. Elevator, we use the app on the phone.
I have a new app they gave you, but I still like my fob. But they also made an app. They sent out an app like last week saying we're going.
I wish they gave us. Let me get my tea. I wish they gave us an option. And
Like I mean, you can use either or. For me, right now, you can use either or. So they make you only have to use the app.
yes, so we don't have an option.
I don't like
the
that.
fob is disabled.
How about if your phone
Every time in the elevator, me and my other people are fighting. It doesn't work. It's so not. It's
I don't
so.
like that. I like the either or option. I haven't even downloaded the new app they sent.
It's
I
a
haven't
joke.
even downloaded it.
It's a joke. Every time it's not working. Every second. So like it'll take me all the way up because the app is not working. Bring me all the way down. It's just so they're trying. They like say fix my dryer. Like they're trying, but like you said, this building was still built in like 2000, and then they remodeled it. So for a building,
It's not old, but for what is
for
if you
Southern
compare
standards,
2000,
for
right?
Southern
If you
that's
compare
old.
2000 apartment to a 2020 apartment, even a house, 2000 house is going to look different. The style has changed, it's evolved. We have open concept now in houses that it wasn't built, but you know what I mean? Like things are going to be different, even down to like the ceramics and like even the tap, the faucets. Like there's just going to be different. The styling is different. So that's why I said the year that the building is built is important because that to an extent informs like how modern and how updated it's going to be. And they try.
That's true. I moved here from Jersey 2 years ago and love it. Okay, Air West, where did you move to? Where exactly? Miss Mermaid, right. Depends on your other bills. Some people don't have car payments, other big bills.
This car payment, Miss Mermaid, I've been considering, right? Because I moved here last year without a car. and I got one a little last April. And I really think to myself, like, I know I'm in Texas, I'm in Houston, and people drive everywhere, but I work from home. And where I moved, everything is close to me. Like I
You
can't
pay
see
the high rent for a reason.
I got carried away. The mall is 10 minutes from me. If anywhere I go, 5 minutes. I went to the museum last week. We Ubered there $4. Uber parking was $30. So it didn't make sense to drive there. It's like we could have walked there, but it's 100 degrees right now. So it was like a 15-minute walk. I love walking, but it's too hot to walk. So we had to Uber there. So where I go on a day-to-day, everything is so close to me. So I've really been considering getting rid of my car. But it comes down to how much they will give me for it, whether I really want to be Ubering to church. What I think about is just a church and grocery store. That's really when I think about my car, like convenience, just getting in your car. Like every Sunday, I'm going to call Uber.
Grocery store is not around you in the area that you live?
They are close to me, but I'll still have to Uber to them. I'm not going to walk to the grocery store.
$5, $10.
That's not the point. I buy a lot of stuff. I'm a bulk shopper. I don't go to the grocery. I would have to grocery shop.
You get those carts that people get. You take the
cart.
cart.
I have to get those carts and be like, you know what I mean? Like it would just change. I would have to do things differently. Like, of course, having a car is convenient. When I think about how much I pay for it, like, and being that I'm paying more for rent, that's kind of the benefit of not really needing a car, right? To save on that expense. So it's good that you mentioned that because these car payments, and I don't have anything crazy, but these car payments are no joke.
And then remember, loans starting in October, y'all. Anyone to check?
Interest starts what? Interest starts September 1st, and then payments are starting October 1st. So everyone, if y'all have loans, you have to start factoring that into our budget. This is your last month to YOLO, maybe September. Right. If you want to, if you don't mind paying a little bit interest in September, you can pause. But then by October, everyone got to factor in those loans. So like, it's a lot of bills out here.
Got to cut down some bills and make some more money. Tony, best time to move is early year. Get settled in before stepping on, getting acclimated for the summertime. Yeah, so it would be like January, February. And it's cold.
January, February, but I also would say November, December. I
talked about it. I would say I gave the range. I gave a broad range to start with. I would say a broad range, October to April. But if I really want to be specific,
November to March.
November to February.
November to February, yeah. November to February
is the best. You're gonna get the best.
I was looking through my apartment when I moved here. Despite things being a little higher, they had like some promotions, like 2 months free. That's how they kind of get you. And then once you start paying regular rent, you're like, oh. But like they had that, and then now when I checked, they only have 1 month free, and they had that 2 months like in March and April, but they don't have it anymore. So it's like summer. I would definitely say summer is the worst. But I know people move a lot in the summer because of schools, people that have children, they don't want their children to be disrupted. I understand, like that's. Remember
growing up, mommy, we went to Maplewood Middle like for 1 month, then moved to West Orange.
Remember, we're buying a house. Timelines it's not as easy because you can close on a house. It takes time. You don't know, something happens. You have to go through. So yeah. So for housing is a little different. But it was I wish we would have just stayed the whole semester, even just the whole year.
Yeah, I really wish you went to Maplewood Middle.
Yes, it was so that 1 month alone. That 1 month alone was like,
Maplewood out here, comment in the chat. I really wish you went to
the suburbs with nowhere to go, can't walk anywhere, boring. I think back to that when I think now that I'm older and I've experienced different types of emotions, I feel like I was kind of depressed. Like when we moved, like, we were young, we were in the 6th grade, so I didn't really understand how I was feeling. I remember Nelly's song. That reminds me of when we moved. No matter what I do, all I think about it. That was a song that was raining with Kelly and Nelly. But I'm like, it was, so people who care about these stuff, they're not going to push their children out of school like in the middle. Just too disruptive. Curriculums are different. So I understand people with families moving in the summer. But if you're not in that situation, if you could hold it out, because by the end of the year, many of these complexes, these companies, they want to have a secure number of spots they're leasing for the next year. So that's when they start doing these promotions. They don't want all these empty units. They start, doing all these specials because it's like, okay, at least this unit is going to be occupied for 12 months next year. Someone's starting in January. Someone's starting in February. Even if you don't move, at least signing the year before. They just want to be able to estimate, like, okay, this is good. So they get a little more, they get a little more aggressive.
Yeah, look at it like that. And then, like Tony said, you get settled in. It's cold. Nothing to the streets are empty. The streets are there's nothing happening. So you just focus on moving, settling in, save your money, recover from the moving expenses, save your money, stay in the house. And by the spring, we outside. Okay. Wow, that's crazy. Management is also a big factor.
Oh my God, Miss Mermaid.
That's why I'm very Miss Mermaid. That's why That's why I'm very scared to leave my unit because I don't have no issues.
Management can make or break apartment complex. Management alone. When you go to that's I was so picky. Y'all know my first experience. If you don't know my first experience, you watch my 6-month Houston update. What I wish you knew about moving before I moved about Houston. My 1 year Houston update. I moved. I was in a different place a year. That lease was up. I was out. I moved to a new apartment, so now I'm in a different place. I've only been here a year and a half, but I've had 2 apartments. And that management, they were annoying. Whatever. But when I was looking at apartments, I was so picky based on my previous experience. I was like, reviews were like my food. Like I was so once they said bad management, exit out. I don't even care about anything else. When they said bad management, exit out because management is important. It is very important. You will have an issue, no one will come and resolve it. You will have people, unprofessional staff that'll be cursing you out, that'll be being unprofessional to you, that they won't know. You need good staff because they also keep up the standard of the building. They also keep up the environment. They also keep up like the rules and regulations. Like it may be annoying sometimes as people living somewhere when you're getting all these emails. Please rack your weights at the gym. Blah 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 blah. But it's like that's
we
part
have
of
noticed an increased amount of smoking in our unit.
right.
Remember,
But that's management doing their job.
nobody can smoke.
That's management doing their job. That's what they're supposed to do. When you live in somewhere and people are just doing how they want, trust me, that impacts how the residents behave. That impacts how they move. That impacts the things
That's
they
life,
do. Because they know that no one is watching them and there's no consequence and nobody cares. They start being reckless.
right.
So you want management that's on top of people. Trust me, that's something you want. But that's very important.
And we talked about that earlier before you joined too. So we said November to February, and also, like you talked about your bad apartment experience. You know, our cousin had a bad apartment experience. That's why I mentioned why I was so apprehensive about signing a 15-month lease. But if I can go back in time, I would suggest signing the longest lease possible.
If you go in there in person and see
Yes.
it, I will confirm
I mentioned that I didn't do that.
And they only had 12-month leases, and thank God they signed 15 months because I would have been there for 3 more months miserable. Do not sign. Period. I would even advise period. I know Nana got lucky. People are buying houses virtually. I can never do that. I need to go there and visit it. I would say even if it's one night, I know it's money. That's why I didn't go. It was money. I just came back from Nigeria. I was like, let me just move. I've been to Houston how many times? I don't want to spend any more. I've been to Houston like 4 times before. What do I need to go there and see again? I've explored. I know areas. Let me just do it virtually. No, you need to see the environment, not just the apartment. You need to see, are there people loitering outside in the front corner? Google's not going to show you that. There's certain things that online reviews are not going to show you. The map is not going to show you. You need to go there and physically scope out the area. Even drive there in the morning, drive there at night. See the difference in the time of day. I would highly, even if it's one night, or you can afford Friday, go there early, leave Saturday night. Just one night hotel. Pack a sandwich, pack snacks, buy one meal, fly Spirit, fly Frontier. I'm telling you, I know the money.
No luggage.
No luggage, go there and just do a whole Saturday, pack 5 apartments, go there and then fly out at nighttime. Do it. It's worth it. And you're about to move somewhere. You're about to go put money. You don't want to be cheap.
You'll probably do it all in a day if you take an early flight.
You don't want to be counting coins and then you have a terrible experience for 1 year because you don't want to spend 1 or 2 days. Some people are alive. I had my one friend came here for 1 week. Got an Airbnb. She's just very type A. She looked at like 30 apart. I don't think I have to do all that. You know, you do it online, you do your little research, then you pick from that research and you book maybe a weekend. I don't think you need to like stay here. But you know, some people are like that and she can afford it. Trust me, that's why she did it. So I would highly suggest wherever you're moving, please make sure you do in-person tours before you sign any lease.
Air West is in Charlotte. Okay. Miss Mermaid, I love that y'all get it. I just had this conversation, like maybe just get a cheap car, no payment, just simple. Yeah. But the issue, like the car, I went to this financial seminar on Saturday at my church and it's about like car no, blah, blah, blah. Because I was asking questions about like, you know, we hear all this, they reference Dave Ramsey and all this aggressive financial advice, but I'm like, loans about to start. There's so many bills that people have realistically. People saying buying a house, pay off loan, do it. You cannot stretch money, but so far. You cannot put all this money. So what would you focus on? They're like, put towards loans. And then this guy was like, well, I wanted to pay off my car, you know, because my lease is about to be up and I just want to pay it off. Like, you know, because I know by the year, God is going to give me that money. It's going to come to me. Right. Yeah. So, and he was like, well, you know, pay off the car then, because that's kind of like the snowball method. You know, it's cheaper. Because I told him how much loans I have. He's like, oh, yeah. And he's like, yeah, but advice, don't do that again. Like, don't lease. I'm like, people like to say that, but I got my lease at a time that used cars are more expensive. So like it's all about context.
You didn't.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. When I got my
Yeah,
car,
I ended up
my
spending money.
used cars were more expensive. There was still that battery issue.
That's
So
why I ended up in that situation.
that's why I leased. But it's like it wasn't like I intended. My other car that we were driving got totaled. I would have still had that 2007 car. I
Mhm.
wish I could drive. I had an old car right now, but at the same time, I don't be wishing because I remember those mechanic days. It was very convenient because it was my comfort zone, and because he could come get me, I could Uber home. Literally, I used to take the mechanic. Shout out to my old mechanic. What's his name again?
I see.
Isaac. Okay, so
Mhm.
literally, I would take my mechanic to Isaac and my car to Isaac and walk to work on Northfield
Across
Avenue.
the street.
It
Mhm.
was so convenient. So like having an old car didn't really
It's not
move.
about you buying an old car. I planned on getting an older car, but still a good old car, used car. They're expensive. You still have to save out a good $20,000 if you're trying to get a reasonable used car. Maybe 15, 17. Let me say 15,000. A good
Right,
15,000 to buy a reasonable used car. That's a lot of money to bring out at once.
right.
Like
In this in these economic times.
right, like, it's not like it's like a car is two. Yeah, you can get a car that's 2,000, but I've passed that stage in my life. I don't want to be fixing the car every second. I've paid my dues. I've paid my dues. At
Okay.
some point, there's certain car you will give me. I'd rather not have a car. I will Uber everywhere. It's not worth the inconvenience and the hassle and the stress. I will Uber
Especially being
everywhere.
in a new city, you gotta start looking for a mechanic. You're still. I always felt even weird being a woman going to. I always felt like trying to get over on you. Always feel as if they're trying to like overcharge you. Like, nah, I'm good. But yeah, you definitely we got to cut from somewhere and make more money. That's the solution. Don't remind me about the loans. They could have ate the five. They could have ate the 5K.
There was Texas. My state is the one that held it up in the Supreme Court. They're not trying to help us. Nope.
Especially if you live in a college area, it seems like they jack up the prices around July and August. So would that be university? In Charlotte, November through February. Yes, Miss Mermaid. Let's start that. Charlotte, best time to move is November through February. Charlotte, November through February. Lou Ernest, I've been to Six Flags in Atlanta, but Carowinds is actually better in my opinion. Really? I need to go to Carowinds. Miss Mermaid said yes, day and night noise check. She said, like, you talk about going in the day and going in the night. She said day and night. Is it true that electric cars save you money? I really
And
don't
me and
know
my
anything.
brother were talking about this yesterday. I wanted an electric car, but last year, the whole car shortage, it was too much. I can't afford a Tesla, the Tesla I want. I want an electric car. So I'm optimistic by the time I get another car, which is at least 5 to 10 years, there's more competition. So prices of electric cars are going to go down. But I really want an electric car. Like I just don't like the whole. Number one, we pump gas in Texas. I don't like
Right.
pumping gas. I don't like touching it. Okay, I know electric car. I may have to go to outside and sometimes fuel it up, but I have the things in my apartment or whatever, like some spots for electric car charging. I just feel like it's more efficient. Like it just makes life easier. But
Kinda weird to me. So you really just go to charging stations and charge your car?
yeah, I was driving someone's Tesla and I had to go and charge it for them. Like you have to go to station, you just go and like charge it. They have stations. Yeah, they have like Tesla charging stations and like other EV charging stations. But now there's definitely more. Like within the next 5, 10 years, electric cars they're gonna really blow up. But now they're still like a minority, right? Like the average person doesn't have an electric car.
Okay, Miss Mermaid said we get into the relationship topic soon. It's about to get juicy. Lil Ernest, and I always stop 3 times on the way. Tanger, those outlets in Gaffney, and outlets by off of 85 by Dillis. Okay, I see the Tang. I know we talk about the outlets in Gaffney. I need to stop more. I never stop when I drive. Like literally, I can drive straight to Atlanta and make sure to use the bathroom before I go. Don't eat or drink, and I go straight and come back straight. But when you stop, it is better. What city can a sister move to find marriage-minded white men? White men date but almost never marry us in most large cities, in my opinion. Pound divest. I don't
Mm.
know. I don't know what's this. I don't know. This is an interesting one. I really don't know. I never heard of a specific city like white men date but almost never marry us.
I think it's probably not the South. I don't know because I feel like the South. I don't know.
We don't see as much interracial couples and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Like come from up north, like it's not as big, especially I mean, for men you may see a little more, but even for men, it's not like the way you see it up north. Like I feel like up north people are definitely more integrated and people mix more. But down here is different.
All right, hey Justine, it seems the price of Teslas have gone down. I heard.
Now, but
I
it's the same
hate
models and they've given tax incentives for
I
Teslas.
hate the charging of electric cars. It's so annoying. Can make an 8 hour trip turn to 10 hours. Yeah, I think it's weird.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. That I went and charged that thing like for 3 hours, and it was like how much percentage? I was like, what the heck? Like this thing didn't even go half for how many hours it was charged. Like for 2 hours, I thought it was gonna be like full
I
charge.
don't. Could I give me my gas? I don't have time for that. That sounds complicated. Okay, electric would be smart. We have mostly free charging around like hair apartments have this. So I'm thinking about when it's time to go to long distance driving. That's what I'm really thinking about. This whole charge.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
That's
Yeah.
annoying. Like if I'm trying to drive now to Atlanta, a 4 hour trip.
Yeah,
How
you're
long?
fine with Atlanta. You just have to charge up before you go. That's the
Right.
issue. You can't go there with like you would do on gas, maybe a half tank, and go there. Like you would have to be like try and go as charged as you can because you don't want to have to start looking for a station charging. Yeah, Chevy. Didn't they just get rid of their electric car? I know there's the what's the other brand of electric car? The
I didn't
Rivian.
know other brands had. I thought it was just Tesla.
Rivian, Chevy, yeah, Rivian is more companies are going at it, and prices are going to drop. Supply and demand, they're going to drop within the next 10 years. Electric will be more affordable. That's the issue now. A barrier is pricing. They're not affordable like that. Like they have, cheaper. They have a lot of hybrids. I want to even get a hybrid of my car, but I had to wait like a year for it. I can't wait a year for a car. Like it was so backed up. I heard car stuff is even worse now. Interest rates are crazier, like 8%.
Right now.
Yes, interest rates are worse than they were last year for cars. Like,
So my lease is up in December. So with a lease, would it make sense to just give it back and not have a car, or that's dumb because I already invested so much money in the car?
I mean, it depends. Do you need a car? If you're going to give it up to go and buy another new car and start from scratch,
No,
that
I
doesn't make
can't give it up to just not have a car.
I mean, that would make sense, but the issue is how
But I'm
long
looking at like I lost money. You get what I'm saying? Because like 3 years.
because you drove the car. You got the 3 years of the drive and you got the value. That's why people think like that, period. That's why people don't like leases, period. Because it feels like every time you're going to return the car, then you get a new one. It's like you're putting money towards a car and it's never yours. So, but if you're going to return it to really go out without a car for a long period of time to save money to buy a used car, I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. It just depends on how much is left on your lease and how much you're willing to spend on your next car. Because if the math doesn't make sense, if you have 15K left in your lease, you're gonna go buy another car for 15K that's used. That doesn't make sense. Just keep the car you have that's used and work towards paying it off. Switch it to financing. So now you're and don't start from 5 years again. Just try and finance it.
You don't look at the years. You look at what's going to be the best interest rate, and you pay what you want. Don't get caught up in the years. Same thing.
Say that, but the reality is that's the reason.
I had a private loan that says 7 years. I paid it off in a year because 7 years.
You have that discipline, but I'm saying for the average person, that's why people even talk about refinancing. Why not to do it? Because the reality is that people go and doing it. They start from zero again. They start their mortgage another 15, 20 years, and they don't go and pay more because now you know what I mean? Like they don't go and pay more because
they enough that we can pay more if we needed to pay more. Because I'm not going to get caught up in the numbers. I want the lowest interest rate. That's what I want. I'm not going to let the number get and a lot of times that's how they get people because they'll be like, oh, 5% at 5 years, but 7 years is 3%, right? So that's how they get people to do the longer term because they give you a better interest rate, but no one's forced you to pay it off in that 7 years. You can pay it off, but I get what you're saying. Now you get comfortable with that payment, you want to put that money to
Justina said you don't lose money because you're paying for exactly. You don't lose money. You can't look at it that way because for those 3 years you drove the car.
When you rent and you're throwing away money, it's like the same.
For those 3 years you drove the car, but the idea people have is that depending on how much you're paying for a lease, right? Your lease is pretty reasonable. That money people paid for 3 years, you could have bought a used car. But then you can't compare because you didn't get a used car. You got a brand new car. So it's about comparing equal things. But that idea is that you're putting money towards a car at the end of the day is not yours. So Anna Lula said, maybe I didn't go outside when I was in Georgia, but I never seen so many white grandmas with their pack of brown grandbabies moving to Georgia. Really? Moving to Georgia, but from where? That's the question. Are they from? They're not. I'm thinking moving to Georgia, so they're not originally from there. So they're probably moving from somewhere like Cali or the Northeast, where seeing like people mixing more is more common.
An outrageously high bride price drama to report. I'm told the Igbo struggle is still real. Ha ha ha. Okay. And any outrageously high bride price drama to report. I'm told the Igbo struggle is still real. Okay, so I heard that they kind of, I know it's kind of off topic, but I heard they're trying to phase out from the whole bride price thing because some people feel like it's just like you're selling
your barrier to entry.
And times are hard right now. You just need girls to get married. Why are you focusing on money? You get what I'm saying? Like if you make money the priority, then you wonder why you have a house full of daughters that are still not married.
Right.
I know there's certain places that just have a higher bride price, like NBC girls, whatever. But Are y'all open to dating different ethnicities? Mia, can you specify what you mean by different
I
ethnicities? Like,
am. I am.
I am. Have you ever? You always, I am. But do you do it? Do you?
Um, and
Do
that's the
you?
point we make. I said it about one of my video. What I shocking things I learned since moving to Houston. I'm gonna start putting these links in here so y'all could watch these videos. It's a Houston, Texas playlist about Houston being very diverse, but at the same time being very segregated. The difference is that the segregated stuff it's separate but equal, versus it like in some other places like it's separate but it's like the black places are not as nice or the Spanish places are not as nice. Houston doesn't necessarily have that issue, but I noticed that the social scene can be somewhat segregating. But
White,
that's not
and African American. Okay. So I'll just talk about my. Maybe this will be another a clip we'll make into a different video because we're kind of diverting, which you know how these lives go. Um, I feel like I'm just gonna be realistic. I'm open to like certain ethnicities, but the reality is that I still gonna have my preference, right? Like being open doesn't mean that that's not that you still don't have what you want, like a specific preference. You're trying to be more open minded as you get older. But I had a conversation over the weekend and my friend was over and her friend was over. She's African American. My friend is African, but she's from a different country. And sometimes we try to minimize the importance of culture because we feel like, oh, we're in America, everyone's the same, kumbaya. And like I get it to an extent, but like culture shapes a lot of your worldview. It shapes a lot of how you think. The little things you do, just feel like that's how I am. No, that's part of how you were raised. That's your culture. You know what I mean? So I feel like sometimes I don't know, like you want to be open minded, but at the same time, you have to be real with yourself. Like you have to find that balance between being open minded and being real with yourself. It's like there's just certain things that I just feel like I wouldn't be able to adjust to, or like I don't want to be an African American studies professor in my house. Like I had that minor at Temple University. I don't want my house to be like me always talking about race. You know, I'm not trying to say, oh well, that person did.
because of course you're thinking if you're dating somebody who's different ethnicity that they would be doing their own work, right? But I get what you're saying. That doesn't necessarily mean they're doing the
That's
work.
not true. They might think that, like, Nena, you're overdoing, you're over exaggerating. That's not true. That person really wasn't racist. You're just overthinking. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to deal with like race all the time as a like. I'm not saying I want to ignore race, but I don't want it to be something I constantly have to be reminded of. And and when I think about being in an interracial relationship, that's what I think of. That's what I think of, like race always having to be something that I have to be cognizant of or have to pay attention to. And I don't know, but the brothers out here, they be playing games, so I might have to do what I have to do. You feel me? Like you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, said other ethnicities love to date but not marry black women. Interesting. Maybe
Exactly.
that's the fetish part of it, like something different, something to try. But
Lou
it's
Arnett, me personally, I deal with ethnicities and nationalities. I'm culturally diverse. That's most men. I feel like most men are definitely way more open-minded than women. Don't forget to please like the video, like the video. This kind of reminds me of like the what we saw on IG yesterday when that girl talk about like how Nigerian men like to date Black American women but not marry them. And this
but
comic
some of the same about men too, to an extent, but men do it more. I think it depends because we talk about ethnicities is very broad. What ethnicities, what cultures? Are we talking about just within Black people? Are we talking about just within South America? Are we talking about just within Europe? Because are we talking about like there's many different? This is a very layered conversation, but I don't know because at the same time people would tell you that they do marry.
married. Yeah, I feel like I see a lot of interracial couples getting people that get married. Although I'm open, but I'm realizing it's more about mindset because not all skin folk are kinfolk. Wow, that's deep. Not all skin folk are kinfolk. My ex-friends are from Eritrea, and they said their specific and they said in their specific African culture, they are told they shouldn't date an African American man due to the stereotypes. That's if we want to be honest, that's not just specific to Eritrea. That's a lot of African countries.
Even I know we don't want to trigger anyone, but even Kevin Samuels used to talk about this on his show about like a lot of times men will come and like talk down about African American women and say, "Oh, we need to date other Black women." And Kevin Samuels would always say like other Black women date their own men, like they don't necessarily date. They're not going out looking for like African American men to date. Like a lot of their cultures, they're not even allowed. Like they have to date their own men. So the idea of like trying to put down African American women and be like, oh, let's date other Black women as if other Black women are even looking at, you know what I mean? Like he used to always mention that, like, no, like that's not necessarily a solution because other Black women are told to date their own men, their own ethnicity, their own culture.
I really feel like yes, race is an issue. We live in a very racist society. This country is built on slavery, built on racism. But I think sometimes we ignore the factor of class. I think what a lot of people are more concerned about is class, even more than race than what they think, right?
But
Because I feel
race and class, there's intersection between
like
race.
right, intertwined,
You
right? So
can't just take
right,
them apart because they're very entangled. So you
right.
can't look at race without looking at class. You can't look at class without looking at race. But I get
Yes,
what you're
so
saying.
it's not
When
always
people are looking at, she said stereotypes. So when those people are thinking of an African American, they're thinking of a stereotype of a thug or someone on the street. They're thinking of this extreme. That's not the average. You know what I
right,
mean? So the same way when growing up, people thought of African booty scratchers like this person. Like, you know what I mean? They had this idea of what an African looked like. So
right.
those stereotypes are what a lot of people see, and then they make these judgments. But I've doubted that, and not to say I doubt. I know there's many people that still prefer their own. It's not necessarily a negative reason. It could be because of just the cultural similarities, the religion. Some ethnicities also have they have religion entangled with their ethnicity. So like
Mhm.
when you start going out, things can get a little complicated. So there are legitimate reasons why people prefer to stay to their own. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but
Right.
it's like if you're not getting what you need to get from your own, maybe it's time to look elsewhere. That's when it could become a little limiting. Thanks,
Ooh, this 99. Woo! Thanks for the super chat.
super chat. Who gonna compete?
Miss Mermaid, I prefer first gen immigrant greater than American, to be honest. So like us, first gen. Are we first gen? So Miss Mermaid, where are you from? If you don't mind me asking. Lil Ernest, as a black man who's traveled around the world, the black man is highly desired by women from here we go. Is highly desired by women from different countries, Latin, Caribbean, African, white, etc. Interesting. But at the same time, Lil Ernest, you don't think some of it is just a fetish? The same way like black women sometimes is a fetish that other men like us because you're just something different. They don't see you a lot, they just feel like, ooh, a black man. I wonder how big it is. I wonder if it's good. I feel like black men have been very sexualized
And it's
globally.
not sex up is also access, right? We talk about we don't want to start going too much black history, but if you look at the history of America, or you look at the history of across the world, non-black men have always had access to black women. This is not new. This is not a thing. That's how you get all these these interracial mixed kids and all this stuff back from how many hundreds of years ago. We were always accessible to them. So I think that the fetish still remains, yes, but the idea that non-black men are not checking for, they were doing it from the beginning of time, versus with men. Look what happened to Emmett Till for allegedly whistling at a white woman that he never did.
They never
Black
had
men, they never
access.
had access to white women. Couldn't, that was like your life on the line if you were ever caught with a white woman or not. Like, it wasn't a thing. You weren't allowed. So I think that because now we're in a different time, people are not exploring things that they couldn't do previously. So I think on the black man's end, that's why that could be one of the reasons why it's more like done globally, and like it's like, oh, and of course black men are good looking, they're attractive. So it's not like why shouldn't you like someone who's good looking and attractive? Like, they're not ugly people, right? So other people liking them makes sense. Same way they like us because we cute. So it makes sense. All right.
Okay. I just stay open and try not to get caught up in generalization. That's all you can do. Mia Chica, why in the African culture Africans are taught to not date African Americans? Was y'all raised that way, and would y'all raise y'all children with that same mindset? Okay, let's make some clarification, right? I think African Americans can't take it so personal because we do it even within our own country when it comes to the different tribes. So don't take it like, oh, my mom said don't be African. My mother wants me with an Igbo person. Okay, she don't even want me to be with another Nigerian that's from a different
People
tribe.
even within Igbo are specific with what type of people,
Specific from what state you're from.
what
You can
state.
understand? Like, I think that we have to be mindful and realize that it's deeper than than what it seems. But if I also want to keep it, we keep it real on the channel. If I want to call a spade, they're going off of stereotypes. Same way when people go off of stereotypes about Africa, so they're watching Lion King, but now everyone want an African guy, right? Everyone want a Nigerian guy, right? But people wasn't checking for Nigerian guys 30 years ago, 20 years ago. We was in school, and the Nigerian guys would say, we Jamaican. They would lie about being, I'm telling you, I put it on everything. Nigerian guys used to lie about being Nigerian because they didn't want to be called an African booty scratcher. So at the same time, these are based on generalizations. Listen, when most immigrants come to the United States of America, they go to the hood. That's where we start. That's what we can afford. What are they around? They're around thugs. They're around drug dealers. They're around people who
They're not around only that, but that's what they see, and that's what some of them use as their idea of
a
what.
black person, they think that's
Right.
that.
Like
They don't
that's
realize
not all black
that's
people
not
are.
all black people. They're in
Example,
a
if we took you to Nigeria, for example, we took you to the slums and we took you to stay, you would have a certain perception of what Nigerian people are or what the average Nigerian is like because that's your surroundings. But that doesn't represent everyone. It doesn't even represent, say, the average person, but it's based on what you're seeing on your day to day. Because, like we said, you can't take away class and race. That's there's a class part that's causing that cause some people to move the way they move. It's not about being black, white, or anything. It's class. It's money. It's economics. Like if you have to do certain things to feed your family, you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? So when those people see, some of them see those people, they use it to generalize a whole group of people,
right.
which is not the case. And it's unfortunate because as much as we all want to act, we all stereotype to an extent. People stereotype, people judge, people. We have our unconscious biases, even biases that we don't even realize we have. That's it's just innate. As where you just have to do the work to try and do a lot of unlearning. But I
Right.
do think that it's not necessarily a and it's not even necessarily always a bad thing. Like we said, culture is so important. So there's
Right.
little things that people don't really. I was talking to my homeboy, he's telling me some stories. They told me some crazy story, and it's like there's certain things that me, as a first generation Nigerian American woman, there's certain things like it's not acceptable for me to do. There's certain things that are acceptable, like just in terms of family and just like the way I think, it still influences my thinking, no matter how American I am.
There's no way it
There's
cannot.
things like right now, for example, if you talk about personal, there's people get divorced off of stuff like I don't even want to go visit your country. Like something like that you may think, oh, I like you, you like me, it's cool, it's not, it's okay. But let's say you have children and you don't want your children going to your partner's
That's a
country.
big part with a lot of Nigerian guys.
Like you don't feel safe. And I understand, even as a Nigerian American, I understand someone to not being safe. But if you're with a real Nigerian, like someone who's hardcore, and they
Yeah.
want their children to be in the village, learning the culture from young, and then you tell them those things cause issues. They cause, but it's
You
less.
don't understand why he got to send his mother money every month in Africa. You don't understand that, but you do think his mother should go get a job. You get
Yeah,
what I'm
his
saying?
sister should go get a job, or his cousin should just go to get a job, or his brother should just go get a job. But that culture, the way they're raised, like these things are the norm. So
Right.
someone who's from their culture will understand it more. It's not to say that they're going to have a better marriage and they're going to love each other more, but culture is it's your worldview. It's the way you see the world. Is culture. Like it shapes you so much. Like I said, if you want to be with someone outside, that's fine. We're in America. We're free to do whatever we want to do. But you have to also keep in mind there's a lot of learning you have to be willing to do. And not everyone wants to do the learning. I know people that say, oh, they have a man here and from this country, but they don't want to learn their language. To me, that's bizarre. If I marry a German man tomorrow, give me okay, let me be humble. 2 years highest, I will know intermediate to basic German. There's no way I can marry a German and not. It's not possible. It's not like to me. It's like at that point. So why are you marrying that type of person? Stay with your own person. That you don't have to do all that. Like it takes a lot of effort. It takes
Right.
a lot of learning. If you don't want to do that, then maybe it's best that you just stay to yourself.
You don't think women have it easier though, like us? Like I feel like men, even these traditional men you're talking about, men are more like chill and laid back. Even our Nigerian men, I feel like as a woman, I see the guy being more like annoyed. Like let's say right now I'm Nigerian American and I marry like a Jamaican guy. My kids, I feel like gonna be more Nigerian because I'm the mom. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I'm the one like women hold the culture. Women are the ones that raise children primarily, right? So if anything, I feel like it would be more of the guy that I'm dealing with that would have to be more open versus if it's reversed because like I'm raising my children with my culture. I
Right.
can't teach my child Jamaican culture. I'm not Jamaican. The most I could do, like you said, is be open to it. You get what I'm saying? Be open
You
to
can
the
cook in a sense that let me tell you where the power holds. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, because you're the mom and you're the one raising children, for the most part, how you would be teaching your children Jamaican culture is learning how to cook that food. It's to doing certain things like that, making sure that they go there, being in learning more about the culture. Like I understand what you're saying in the sense that you're naturally gonna know more of your own self, of your own culture, and that's what you're gonna bring out more. But at the
right.
same time, you as the woman, you have to put in the effort to learn more about your man's culture and bring it to your
But
children.
I feel like that's not fair because I remember a coworker, she's Caribbean, she married Ghanaian. She said it came to a point that she had to tell her man, like, listen, I'm not a Ghanaian woman. If you wanted a Ghanaian woman, you should have married a Ghanaian woman. I feel like a lot of men, these African men, sometimes
a lot of them, they don't think it's as important as what it really is. Like
it's
they think a lot
right.
of men, period. I talk to a lot of friends, guys. They'll tell me stuff that they will overlook and it end up being a bigger issue than what they thought in the beginning because they feel as if, oh, I just like her and you know what I mean, like whatever, we'll make it work. It's okay, it's fine. And then later on, these things that seem minor end up becoming big issues. So I do agree. Like if you really,
I don't think you should try and force your culture on someone.
if you
Like,
want to eat your food every day, you want to freshly cook, you need to marry someone from your culture who can cook that food and cook
or
it for
go
you.
buy the food. Go buy the food.
Don't expect a woman or a man who is not from there to go and do all this learning. You know what I mean? Like it's also.
I feel like that's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah,
and it's not fair. There though, she said good points. Good points there though. There's no such thing as African culture though. Different countries, ethnicities, and tribes. Yes, of course. Even with the countries is different. Alonez have to point out the class part they mentioned in those countries. Many are poor and struggling, and see American men of any race as an escape. Passport bros. Are we gonna go into the passport bros?
Yeah, that's the fact they don't want to bring. I say it all the time. Let's be real. America. I've gone out. I've been in Houston for a year and a half. I've seen prices go up with my eyes within 18 months. Even our home country where we're from right now, what Naira is changing for $1 is almost 900 Naira. When I went in December, it was 7 something. A year ago it was 5. Before that was 5 something. Inflation is crazy. So the reality is that it's not even necessarily just a man thing, but Cena brought the point that he's a man, right? But even with women, people see people from America, period, as like money. They see you as like an escape. They see you as
ignore race. They can start to ignore race.
Right. And of course, as a man, you're naturally supposed to be the provider. That's your role just naturally. Men usually, I watch a story.
Biblical.
Yeah, it's men's job. Men don't understand. A lot of this women not wanting to do 50-50s for the men's benefit. Men don't do well when they're not providing. Like it doesn't usually, like it does something to their psyche. But
modern men do well, Ngozi. Modern men do well.
That's another day. So the reality is that when money is involved, like I said, it plays a big part in these things. Because no matter, you could be green or white. If you're gonna give me money and take care of me, I'm gonna look past a lot of things.
You say it could be green or white?
It's period. It doesn't matter. So we can't, like I said, you can't take away the money from it. It's not about just being cute or pretty or desirable or handsome. It's the dollars. Money talks. Like it's really important. As much as we want to say money's not everything, but what, like, is it really not? It's a lot. It does a lot. So for those situations, I definitely think that that's a reason why, period, as Americans, men or women, why you can go to another country and just get so much attention or get so many people wanting to like entertain you because of the money.
Yeah, I hope you answered your question. I wanted to answer the end though. Are y'all taught to date, not to date African Americans? I want to be honest here. Growing up, my mother told me I should marry a Nigerian. And was y'all raised that way? And would you raise your children with that same mindset? I mean, for my children, I think it's gonna be different because they're gonna be second gen, right? So like I'm still Americanized, and like my partner will probably be Americanized. So I think that wouldn't even really be a topic of discussion. I would just say be with someone reasonable, right? Be with someone who has a good job, who has a good head on their shoulders. And like me, I'm just really I just want to be really as real as possible. We're probably going to cut this clip and get a separate dating video because, people like that talk. But I feel like I'll be lying to tell you that my experiences with like American men have just been very different. And I've tried, like, it's not like I've realized I have to be more open-minded, but sometimes I realize, like Ngozi said earlier, why people stay to themselves. It's not necessarily the best thing out there. It's not necessarily the greatest option, but sometimes I get it because even trying to date men who are American, me and Ngozi were born and raised in America. We didn't come from Nigeria. Like we weren't like, there's some young girls who are like born there and they came here. That's different. You know what I mean? But we're born and raised here. But sometimes like dealing with some American men I've dealt with, it's like, I feel like we're from different worlds almost. You get what I'm saying? Even though we're both Black people that are born and raised in America, like it's almost like I felt like in one case recently, I almost felt like I couldn't really be myself, or I felt like I had to try and like bring myself lower so I don't come off as like too much, or I don't come off as like maybe like braggadocious, or I don't come off as like being bougie. But like when I deal with Nigerian men, I don't feel like I have to do that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I don't feel that same way. So just like little things, and like I said earlier, I don't think it's necessarily always a class thing. I don't think it's always like a culture thing. I think maybe sometimes it's just based on dealing with men who are on your same maybe financial level or like your same education level. I think that may be part of it. I don't think it's as much as race sometimes as we think, or like culture as much as we think. I think it's just about being with someone who understands you. Like I never used to agree with my one friend. She's Asian. She said she can't marry a guy that didn't go to college. And I used to argue with her, like, why does that matter? Like, if he has money, I wouldn't care. But the older I get, even though I don't necessarily 100% agree with it, I get where she's coming from. Like, I get where she's coming from. And she's Asian, so most of her counterparts go to college, but she said she just wouldn't be able to do it. She don't think that she wants a guy that went to college. And, we're in our community, African American community, a lot of our men don't go to college. You know what I mean? That really, really is the truth. So I think that is also a part of why, like we did a live, with Lincoln in here, is marriage for white people. I think that is a link into why you see a lot of single Black women who are successful and doing well, because a lot of the women are looking for a man who has the same education level as them, who makes around the same amount of money as them. And the reality is that there's just not enough Black men to go around for every educated Black woman. Like, those are facts, those are statistics. You know what I mean? So women have to be more open to, like, either dating out their race, if it's that important to them, or being able to be with a guy who maybe, yeah, you're successful, you make 180K, but your man makes 50K. Is that going to be okay with you? For a lot of women, that's not okay with them. So they'd rather just be by themselves. So I hope that answered your question.
Well, Lulu said, I prefer first gen myself. I can't go to American. Interesting. What culture, what ethnicity, where is your family from? Little Ernest said, most American-born Black men are emotionally weak. I don't know. I just think I would say that it's different, right? Their mindset is different. The way they see the world is different. I don't know whether emotionally weak is the right word. I don't want to, offend anybody, but I do think that the way that some of them upbringing is different. Yeah, like I could say there's differences.
You guys answer that question.
What are y'all looking for, man? Qualities, deal breakers, etc. Well, I was told Mia to respond. What was it? I'll know, and I no, that's for a different question. I'll know when I see it. But in terms of deal breakers, I don't know. I feel like it's just hard because you will say something and you meet someone and then things change and what's your deal breakers. But I think number one is Christian. I can't date someone who's not a Christian. I can't. I can't marry someone who's not a Christian. That's number one.
Nigeria is common. Christians and Muslims
Yeah,
get
Yoruba culture, they mix a lot. I can't marry someone who's not a Christian. I can't.
Can you date someone that's not a Christian?
No. That's number one, I would say. That's like the most important thing. Then there's other things, Number two, I would say we have to have similar values. I think that's number two, values, how you want to raise a family, how you live life, your lifestyle. Are you like, do you smoke cigarettes? Like I guess not, I don't think I can date someone who smokes. I've done it and I don't think I can do that. Like it's a nasty lifestyle. Like lifestyle values is like number two. Like all that stuff. Values is a big one. And then that can even be bucketed under a Christian because that's kind of your values. Then I would say number three is maybe like personality, like how someone like if we get along.
Don't be a liar, and I'm fine.
Do we get along? Attraction, all that stuff would come all into play. Because the point I'm saying, there's no, even if you have chemistry, attraction, if it's not Christian, I can't date you.
Right.
Like so, all that I can't say that's number one. Like literally, that's number one. Is are you a Christian? Then those other things start piling up. But in terms of deal breakers, I don't really have. I wouldn't say I have a lot.
You just said smoking. You don't want to smoke.
That's a deal, but right? I wouldn't say. I would say a habitual smoker, maybe really like some. I don't know. It's hard. Like, because people say there's other things that what type of smoking? Are you putting hookah in it now? Are you putting, the legal?
Nah, I wouldn't put hookah in it.
Yeah, so I think it just depends. It depends. Yeah.
No height requirement, Ngozi?
Height is a nice to have for me, but of course there's a bare minimum, like 5'10" at least. That's the bare minimum. I'm 6'1", so who's the one that needs 6 foot and she's 5 something?
Ask the question.
Oh yeah, I think I would say at least 5'10", but it's not to say if someone was 5'9" and I really like them, I wouldn't still entertain them. Like height to me is overrated. I've been there, done that. It's very overrated. It's very over. It looks nice, but at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything. Like if we talk about real issues in a relationship or real core everyday value, like height is going to change my relationship.
Height to make men look more attractive. That's a fact.
Yeah, that's number three. That's part of attraction. But in terms of the day-to-day, making a relationship work, making a marriage work, where does height come into that? It doesn't. Like it's an aesthetic thing, right? Yeah, I would love to be with a guy towering over me, but like I said, like I've been there, done that, and there's more important things than height.
Anna's from Jamaica, so she says she needs first or second gen herself. Howdy, hey, babes. Hey, Evie. I hope I'm saying your name right. Hi, nice to see you
How are
again.
you? I saw your comments. I haven't gotten on the comments. I saw your comments on the video, so you've been engaging. Yeah, watch all those videos, girl. Everyone, we have Houston, Texas playlist, Charlotte, North Carolina playlist. Any day you're just bored, cleaning, cooking, just put it on. We have a bunch of videos. Make sure you're subscribed and you like this live right now so we can get it pushed out to other people. We're going to do a little longer, but I'm really putting your pressing questions because we're not going to stay too long tonight. It's already been an hour, 10 minutes. We appreciate you
Where
guys.
did the time go?
Appreciate you guys being here with us.
You guys answer this question.
How would you feel? How would you feel about a man morbidly obese who pay all the bills and faithful? Oh, that's an interesting question.
Well, Anna, why are you laughing?
I think that's an interesting question because it's more than him being morbidly obese. Paying the bills and faithful is nice, but it's like there has to be attraction. There has to be like, do I like you? Are we compatible? Like there's other factors besides you paying. Paying the bills is nice, but it's like that's not enough
That's
to
the
right.
Evie say, yeah, I've been binging. Yes, girl, share it too. Let your friends binge too. I ended up back in Houston.
Oh, Houston. I remember you were between Houston. Where was it? Was it Chicago? What state? You were between going to Houston or
Dallas?
other state? That wasn't Dallas. Was it
Atlanta?
Weren't you doing like residency or something?
Yeah, residency. I remember that. Mia got all the dating questions. We gotta do a separate video for Mia. Would y'all date a man that has kids? If so, what's your max?
This is a great question. Let me tell you.
One.
Max one. You can't have a whole family. Like I don't have energy for that. One child. And I'd be real, I wouldn't want to, but the reason why I know I'm getting older, 30, whatever, like, it's becoming more and more common. And it's just something you have to accept to an extent. Like my mother got married, my father had 3 kids already. So the reality is that if she was looking like that, would I be here? You know what I mean? Like there are things that you have to look past. And if the person's a really good person, it makes it easier to look past those things. But at the same time, my issue isn't really just with the child. Children are beautiful, blessing. That's my issue. Like some of these women, they're just so. I don't want to deal with like another woman and her child. Is very sensitive. I know if it was me, I would be very particular about who I want my child around. I was talking to my cousins. I was saying like if I'm with a man with a child, that woman has to have my number. I have to have her number. Like we have to have a relationship. Like me, I wouldn't send my child to stay with their father, and I don't know the woman. I don't know his girlfriend or his wife. Like that's weird. Like I need to know her, and I respect that as that woman should want that from me. So it's like it still puts responsibility on me. And another factor with the child, preferable, let the child be older. It's different when you have a child. You have a 2-year-old
or really young.
No, 2-year-old or 12-year-old is very different. It's very different dynamics. That man is going to be more involved. He has to be very involved in the child's life to an extent. There's certain things a woman can't do without him. She's going to be more dependent on him financially, emotionally, maybe even sexual, whatever. You think about you meet a guy who has a 1-year-old. Think about how recently they was getting it in. You know what I mean? Like this person isn't far removed. Like, oh, I haven't slept with her in 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, no, like they said there's nothing like that baby mama. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing like she still has like that. It makes me uncomfortable. Like I really would prefer a man if they're gonna have a child, the child should be a teenager. Even 25 is good. Let the child be grown.
You married an 80-year-old? Come on.
Bro.
People wanted to move to Durham. Oh, really? It was Durham?
Yeah, I know it was
down north. Yay, so happy to catch you live. I think of moving to Houston, and all y'all videos have helped me get a good sense of what it is down there. Love y'all. Oh, we appreciate that. Thanks for watching. I'm from Houston, but I was doing pharmacy resident out of state.
You are from Houston.
Ms. Murray said he would have to be older and the kids older too. Evie, it's so hard to look past the kids thing. Plus, I don't want to be a second wife. But these young guys are not ready. So what are you gonna do? Wait around till you're 40 for these young guys to be ready? What are you gonna do? And LOL, I'm sorry, I'm eating, y'all. You good? Christopher's laughing. I'm not sure on what. Mia, would y'all date a man that your family does not approve of, or it don't matter what anybody thinks?
Date or marry, because that's different. I would date a man, but the idea is we're dating for marriage, right? But to me, it's a reason why.
Right.
Why are they not approving of him? It has to be solid. Like the reason behind it has to be, because I know that sometimes we don't like to listen to the people, especially people close to us. We think we know it all. But when you're inside something, you have a bias and your feelings are involved, your emotions are involved. You can't see the bigger picture. So you could be with someone you think you're in love, whatever, and there's a reason why your mother, your sister, cousin don't like this guy. They can see something that you can't see.
Yeah, that's my
It's
friend
not,
said.
it's not to say that my sister has to approve my man, and then I'm grown. You know what I mean? Like, but if she really comes to me and says, "Ngozi, my spirit is telling me this guy something is off,"
Mm.
I would listen to it. It's not to say I may call it off, but it would be something I would really pray about and really entertain and say, what is she really seeing? What's really bothering her? What is
Mm.
she really seeing that's not right? Because I know there's a lot of times when we're
A
in
lot of
love,
girls can be naive, especially when they in love. They actually love.
they don't see the bigger, they don't see it all. You're just stuck on what's there. So I think it depends.
Bell Noir said, not a situation I want to get into, but I definitely want him to take care of his kids and
And
be
that's
active.
my thing too. I also judge men who have kids and not in their kids' life. I would never date that type of guy. So like it's unfair to me to say I don't want a man with kids, but then date a man with kids who is not in his children's life. I don't like that. Like if you have kids, take care of your kids. Because I look at it, if I could end up with you and I end up having a child with you, is this how you're going to treat my child? Like that's what I'm looking at. Like I want to see a man who's very invested in his kids if he has them. You know?
Good point. They might see something about him you don't. Definitely. Family has shiny eyes. I would take them into account, especially if these are reasonable people. There's some family that they just don't like anyone, or they're just gossipers, or they're just bored, they're jobless, right? It depends. You have to think about the family member, right? But if this is someone who really stays in their lane, respects themselves, understands boundaries, and they come out to tell you something about your partner, you will be a fool not to pay attention. Because this person must have really seen something serious for them to leave their land of boundaries, leave their private life, leave their, because some people really do mind their business. Like someone like me, if I come to you and tell you something about your partner, I feel like you should really take that serious because I don't get into people's business. I'm even scared to tell people stuff because I really don't want to get involved in
It's
drama.
funny you mentioned that because I was watching a live earlier today, and the lady was talking about how her aunt's friends knew her man was cheating, they didn't tell, and she was like kind of talking badly about the friends, and the host was like, "No, I don't blame her. I've learned I've learned from experience. I don't blame people who don't tell people because at the end of the day, I commented that because I've had my bad experience. She's like, I don't blame people who don't tell people because number one, she told your aunt she's still there. She's not going anywhere. Then some of these women will go and make you the problem. They'll make you like you have to have a special type of relationship with somebody. Like really, even if you're really close with them, it's still difficult. I won't lie, it's very uncomfortable. But like I said, I understand why some people, but if you're really, really close to someone like your mother, your sister, they should be able to tell you their honest truth about who you're dating. And of course, it may not necessarily be unsolicited. You should be able to ask them, like, honestly, like, how do you feel about this person? And they should be able to tell you the truth without feeling like you're going to retaliate or get upset or not talk to them or whatever. But it's difficult. When the quiet ones come out of their box to speak, listen, you are so right. Yeah, because there's some people who don't like anyone. They have something to say about everybody. So that's not someone you're going to take their opinions seriously. Right. Oh, Mia with the questions. What about dating older or younger guy? The oldest I would go is 10 years older and younger 2 to 3 years. So
Same thing with me. Same thing with me, Mia.
20s, I would always say up to 10 years, right? Now I'm 30 years old. 10 years is different. 10 years is different when you're 22 versus 35 or 32. Because the reason why I say it's not necessarily the age, but if I'm 31 dating 10 men 10 years older than me, these men are 40 plus now. They have baggage. They've lived life. They have been around. They most likely have children. Like there's a lot of things that you have to.
A lot of African men 40 plus don't have children.
You sure they don't have one in their village? You sure?
Maybe they have one. Maybe they don't know about it in America somewhere.
They
But
have one they're not taking care of.
a lot of African guys I've no person to even meet. It's very normal for them to be 40 plus, and not have a child. Yes, yes.
Never been married, don't have kids. I'm not saying they don't exist, but it's not common.
I think it's more common than what you think. And I think it's going to even be more common in our generation because I think men are going to start settling down in their 40s. I think it's more common.
Younger, and I always would be like, I would never want to date even someone my age. So younger would be difficult, but they would really have to come correct. It's funny. I was telling Nana, my cousin, I met some guy like a couple months ago, and he told me he's one age, and I realized he's like younger, like 2 years younger than me. And it's interesting how men lie about age. It's not women. People back then you would think it's only women who lie about age. It's not true. Now as I've gotten older, so many men have lied about their age to me. Like it's crazy. Like, and I'm just like, what? Like, we're the ones with the biological clock who should be so pressed and lying, but men do also because they know maybe a woman won't want a man too old or a man too young.
Right.
So they
men lie about their age a lot.
They ask about your age, gauge you, and then they'll respond. Because I've always been like a date a guy my same age. Like, what would we be talking about? Like, that's too young. But like I said, I was younger. So if I'm 23, dating 23-year-old is like, huh? But now that I'm 31, it's like, okay, like I think there's a sweet spot. We talk about this all the time. You want guys. We want guys who are too much older, but then, like I said, the baggage, the other things that even just pure as a
Stuck
human
in
being,
their ways.
stuck in your ways. You've lived half your life doing things on your terms. It's hard to break habits as you get older. It's just the truth. That's why you want to teach children a different language at 4 versus 14 versus 24 versus 34. It's easier to learn. It's
Mm-hmm.
easier to build up and develop yourself and change and do things as a younger person. It's hard as you get older. So it's another thing I've noticed. Some older guys are just stuck in their ways. But then you don't want to, a younger guy who's too young and wants to date you for 3 years. You know what I mean? Because we don't do your long dating around here. We don't do that. So I see maybe around your age now, as I'm at my age, I'm more open to the around my age. Is the point I'm making. Versus when I was younger, I wouldn't. Even 5 years was too young for me. It was young. Like, oh, I'm 20. I'm 23. He's 28. Oh, he's young. But now it's like 5 years still brings you to like almost 40. I mean, not almost 40, like your mid 30s. You know what I mean? So it's like, but
Same. I mean, yeah, I agree with Mia Chica, 10 years older, 2 to 3 years younger. Right. They definitely have one back home. At least one, please. Wait, African men not having a child after 40? I don't know, girlie. They have someone, especially the well-to-do ones. They have someone. I mean, you're saying having someone, like having a partner, is different from having a child. Are you saying they have a partner, they're dating someone, or are you saying they probably have a child? Because I know of personally a few that they don't have a child and they never been married, 40 plus. I hear guys say that if a woman is in her 30s, never been married, no children, something must be wrong with her. I get this all the time. In this day and age, I don't think so. It's very, very common. It's very,
I
very
think it's
common.
a cultural thing too, right? Because I don't think necessarily the not being married. I think it's more about maybe sometimes not having a child. Like it's weird. Like it could be either or, but I think that I think maybe where 30s is a large range too, right? You're
Right.
31 or 39. It's
30
very
to 39, yeah.
30 is a very big, 10 years, right? So I think it just depends. And the reality is that the world is changing. Things are changing. People don't have energy. People are just living, doing what makes them happy. People may not like it. People may not. But at the end of the day, you have to make yourself happy. You can't kill yourself. I mean, you can't, the world, life goes on. You have to make the best of it. You're not going to go crazy because you're single. A lot of people want to be partner, but they haven't found somebody. So what are they going to do? They're not going to, they have to live life. But at the same time, I do think that two things can be true at once. You can chew and walk gum at the same time.
You can walk and chew gum.
You can chew and walk and chew gum at the same time, right? Walk and chew gum at the same time. I don't think it's necessarily something. I don't think that something's necessarily wrong with you because you're in your 30s, never been married, and have a child. But at the same time, you as an individual have to also do the internal work and assess maybe there's, like I said, if I was in my 20s, I would never even consider a guy with children.
Mm-hmm.
But because now I'm 31, I have to shift. It doesn't mean lower your standards. You should never lower your standards. Never. It doesn't get you anywhere, but also be realistic about what your standards and why they're there. Like I said, height, the standard that people have about height is nice. But I tell you, for me, as someone who's 6'1", height is nice to have. Because the reality is that height is not going to change the real things. It's not going to really make or break. It's not going to really change or make someone a great person or a bad person. It's aesthetics. You know what I mean? I think it's way more important someone even being focused on money than being focused on height. Like height is just is an external thing. Yes, because money is like part of building a family. Am I going to have to do all the work, or is he going to contribute? Is she going to contribute? But height and all this stuff, someone being good looking is nice. Like I said, I want a good looking man. I want to, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like, it's not the end all be all.
Right.
There's more to it.
If a man was value, would you mind him sharing him with an illness? You want us to do a Kevin Samuels video. He's like, because this is really
No, Ernest, super chat. This question, we need super chats before we answer these questions, because these type of questions are gonna get us in trouble. So if we're gonna take the risk, we need you to put your money where your mouth is, okay? And then I'll get to your question. Are women willing to share? We'll get to your question, okay? But
yes, hell no. But reality is that women are sharing. That's the truth. Women are currently sharing. So a lot of women are living in their delusions.
A lot of them don't know.
Yeah, but like women are currently sharing. Like these women dealing with these men that are doing well. A lot of these men are cheating. They have multiple girls that talking to.
A lot of the ones who can't give you $5 are cheating too. So that's where we have to also be realistic about. That is not always. I think a lot of men, especially who may not be doing that well, I think they like to always look at men who have money as like a negative thing. Like
Right.
one don't have money is a negative thing. And
Or the short guys. Well, tall men cheat. Short men cheat.
at the end of the day, men are men. Okay, so I understand some women having a mindset. If I'm going to get this from this, I might as well get that from that. If I'm going to manage, I'm not condoning that type of behavior. I don't think I can be with someone who cheats because of my health. I'm very health conscious and I'm very paranoid. So that's my number one reason. Forget emotions, forget all that stuff. Like I don't think I can tolerate that. But I understand why some women make the decisions they make. That's what I always stand by. People are different, different folks, different strokes. But yeah, so we talked about the best time to move, definitely end of year, beginning of the year. My personal experience, don't rush it. Don't rush the process. Take your time. I know some people are saying some people are a little too lax. They're planning a move 2 years in advance. I would say, try and get there, but at the same time, make sure you're in a financially secure place before a decent place. Everyone's standard is different. Some people 5,000 to move is enough. Some people 10,000 is not enough. Everybody knows their standard, how risk adverse they are, how comfortable they want to be. I moved and I was sleeping on a mattress for 1 month before I got my bed frame. Some people want to move into an apartment where the mattress and the bed frame are there the same day and it's set up. They want to be furnished. You know what I mean? I got my couch a month plus after I was living there. Some people want it all. You know what I mean? So you have to be real with your personality, know what works for you, and make that decision and plan, save. Times are hard. I get it. Like this is crazy what they're charging out here. The cost of living is high. It's getting really high and it's making it more and more difficult, but the children of God will survive. So, anything else you want to discuss? Any last minute questions?
But honestly, it seems like women put up with more for men the more money he got. Of course. Of course. Relationship, wahala, I pray we all go there all right. We're going to be all right.
We'll be good.
I'm a child of God. So basically, to wrap it up, every Monday we're going to be coming at you live from Charlotte and Houston, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. So that is the time we have picked for us. Seems like it works. We put it up early today. Hopefully, I'll start putting it up like maybe Saturdays or Sundays. So it'll be on your timeline earlier. You get the notification earlier. You remember earlier. And we're going to start chopping up these videos. Also going to be putting out more videos. I have some vlogs I need to edit. I'm going to do some apartment tours by the end of this month. So be ready, y'all. This channel, we're taking it to new heights, okay? So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe with everyone you know.
Yes,
And
like the video.
later.
See you all. Bye.
And little Ernez, we're still waiting for that super chat next Monday.
Even after we hit the super chat, little Ernez, even after video post. So we're still waiting for you. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Used to meet up. Okay, we'll see.
Soon. Don't worry. By end of year, I promise y'all. By end of year,
I'm coming to Houston one more time this year, so maybe we can do like another Houston one when I go to Houston and Charlotte. Whenever Ngozi comes to Charlotte, maybe we wait in 1 year from now, next July.
Yeah, learn as I'm reminding you now. Hit that super chat.
Looking forward. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
So